Good morning to all our listeners on Hot Topic and Fresh News. It's Wednesday, the 27th of June, 2024. Today's major headline comes from Kenya, where President William Ruto has decided to withdraw a finance bill following deadly protests that left at least 22 people dead. This bill, fraught with controversial tax hikes, sparked significant unrest, culminating in protesters setting the parliament building ablaze. In a surprising turn, Ruto announced in a national address his decision not to sign the bill into law, stating it was clear Kenyans want nothing to do with it and expressing his readiness to dialogue with the youth leading the protests. Despite this, tensions remain high with plans to continue demonstrations, as some protesters shift their demands toward calling for Ruto's resignation. This unfolding situation highlights the significant political and social challenges facing Kenya, a nation grappling with a massive debt burden and calls for economic reforms. Stay tuned for more updates right here on Hot Topic and Fresh News. Good morning, you're tuned into Hot Topic and Fresh News on this Wednesday, June 27, 2024. I'm your host, Emily, broadcasting live from New York City.
And I'm David, joining you from San Francisco.
It's great to have you with us, David. To our listeners, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications for Hot Topic and Fresh News to stay updated on the latest news. Straight to the hot topics.
Could you explain why President Ruto decided to withdraw the finance bill?
Absolutely. After the intense protests that resulted in the death of at least 22 people and saw parts of the parliament set on fire, it became glaringly obvious to President Ruto that the public sentiment was strongly against the tax hikes proposed in the bill. He acknowledged this in his national address, opting for dialogue rather than pushing the bill through.
What were the main reasons behind the original tax proposals?
The tax increases were part of a broader strategy to tackle Kenya's massive debt burden, which exceeds $63 billion. The government spends more than half of its annual tax revenues just to service this debt. President Ruto argued that the bill would benefit sectors like agriculture and education, but clearly, the public wasn't convinced.
What's the significance of the ceremonial mace that was stolen during the protests?
The ceremonial mace is a symbol of the authority of the legislature. Its theft during the protests is a powerful image and represents a profound challenge to the legislative authority by the protesters. It underscores the depth of discontent among the population.
It seems like Gen Z played a significant role in these protests. Could you talk more about that?
Yes, the younger generation, often referred to as Gen Z, were notably vocal and active during these protests. They are increasingly politically engaged and have been pivotal in driving the national conversation around these tax increases and broader governance issues. Their involvement signifies a shift in the political landscape, with younger voices demanding greater accountability.
And what about the potential for further protests?
While President Ruto has backed down for now, the situation remains volatile. Many are still calling for his resignation, and there's a planned march to the president's official residence despite warnings against it. The mood is one of continued dissatisfaction and readiness to protest further if necessary.
It's fascinating to see such a display of people power. This will definitely be a situation to watch closely. Thank you for those insights. President Ruto's narrative during his campaign was quite compelling. Could you elaborate on how his background as a hustler played into his electoral success?
Certainly. President Ruto's rise to power was largely based on his self-styled image as a hustler. This resonated with many Kenyans, especially the youth and those feeling left out of the economic benefits enjoyed by the elite. By positioning himself against the long-standing dominance of the Odinga and Kenyatta families, he appealed to voters' desire for change and a more inclusive government. His promise of a bottom-up economic model was aimed directly at tackling the high unemployment rates among the youth and improving conditions for the less affluent.
Despite his promises, the introduction of the finance bill seemed to contradict those campaign pledges, right?
Exactly. This contradiction between his campaign promises and the actions taken once in office, particularly the attempt to raise taxes during tough economic times, sparked significant backlash. It felt to many like a betrayal, especially among those who were already struggling financially and who had pinned their hopes on his promises of economic upliftment.
With the protests set to resume, what do you foresee in the coming days?
The immediate future is uncertain. Although President Ruto has withdrawn the finance bill, the underlying issues of trust and dissatisfaction still lurk. If the government does not address these broader concerns, or if the president fails to reconnect with his base, we might see sustained or even escalated protests. It's a critical juncture not just for his presidency but for the entire nation's political stability.
It seems Kenya is at a crossroads. Thanks for breaking down these complex dynamics. Let's continue to monitor how these events unfold in the days ahead.
Thank you all for joining us today on Hot Topic in Fresh News. We dove deep into the unfolding situation in Kenya, exploring the dynamics of political protests and leadership responses. Your engagement is crucial to us, so please subscribe, activate notifications, and share our content. It's your support that keeps these discussions vibrant and enlightening.
And hey, who doesn't love a bit of drama mixed with serious news analysis? Make sure you've got us bookmarked because you wouldn't want to miss what we've got lined up. We're here every day, bringing you the freshest insights and a few laughs along the way.
We're incredibly grateful for your time and thoughts. Keep tuning in, and we promise to keep the news coming.
Thanks again for listening. It's always a blast, and we're excited for what's next. Remember, the news never sleeps, but when you're with us, it's always a good time.
Stay in the loop, keep your eyes on the news, our channel's content will amuse.